friends, and welcome to episode 3 of my podcast, Knitting with Knitboop. My name is Yura. I'm more commonly found on Instagram and the internet as knitboop, and I'm a knitter, knitwear designer, crocheter, spinner, and general lover of all things crafty located in the Midwest United States. If this is your first time joining me, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Just a quick note up front that I try to keep this podcast as family friendly as possible, but that doesn't mean I shy away from talking about the political issues that affect our crafting community. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll already know that these kinds of topics are very important to me, and I try to do a good job of using my platform to highlight these conversations. So if you're looking for a podcast that's, quote, just about crafting, then this probably isn't going to be the podcast for you. But for all of you who are sticking around, thank you, and I'm really glad you're here with me today. Now that that's out of the way, I'll start with some admin notes. I'm recording this episode on August 13th, 2020, and links to everything I talk about can be found in the description box down below. If you're coming to this episode from my Instagram page, I'll also have links to makers in the Instagram post that I use to let you all know that a new episode has been published. Also, you might have noticed that the camera quality is a lot higher. I'm trying out a new setup with my DSLR, so this will be a little bit of a learning curve, but I think it's gonna be okay. It's better than the old camcorder I was using. I should be able to focus on things now, and I've got my camera hooked up to my laptop so I can see what everything looks like, and that whole process took me way longer than I really want to let on. As you can see from the giant pile of things behind me, I have a lot of things to talk about today, but I'll start off with my FOs for this week. I don't actually have any knitting finished objects, but I do have plenty of spinning ones. The first of the spinning projects that I finished is this bundle of green yarn. And this is fiber from Llady Llama Fiber Company in her colorway Phosphorescence. And I spun this using a semi-worsted, semi-woolen, I'm not entirely sure what the terminology is there, drafting method, which is a little bit different from what I usually do. So when I spin, I usually use a fully worsted drafting method, and I do a short forward draw. But I wanted something that was a little more airy and lofty and squishy, so I tried experimenting with a long backwards draw. I think that's what it's called. And I applied up the finished singles in 3-ply to produce this sort of sport weight yarn. And as I mentioned in last week's episode, my partner has already claimed this yarn for himself. Oops, there goes the skein. Oh well. And he wants a cowl knit out of it. I'm not fully decided on whether I want to design something for it or use an existing design, but I really love how the 3-ply plays with all the various shades of green that are present in the fiber. So it didn't autofocus, but I was able to manually focus it. Technology. What a wonderful world we live in. But yeah, here's what the fiber looks like all close up. As you can see, I really love the different shades of green that are coming through. My second FO is also a spinning project, and this is the finished skein right here. And I'm calling this my Frankenskein. I think I first heard about a Frankenskein from Amy Florence of Stranded Dye Works, and what I did was whenever I spin yarn and I have leftover singles, I'll keep all of them in this little bowl or a bag. I'll include a picture of the bowl somewhere on screen right now, but yeah, I finally had enough singles left for a 100-gram skein after finishing the green hand dyed that I just showed you. And so I decided to do a 3-ply and ply them all together. I'll include a picture on screen right now so you can see what the skein looks like, all cute in its little swirl. And I'll zoom in on the skein so you can see it as well. Here is the skein of yarn. You can see there's a whole bunch of different colors that go into the yarn. So there's that lime green, that's the Llady Llama phosphorescence colorway that goes all the way throughout the skein, interspersed with sort of pinks and browns and tans and burgundies. And I really love how this yarn came out. But yeah, I have about 200 yards of a fingering weight 3-ply yarn. This was drafted and plied using a short forward draft that looked really suggestive. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I'll do with it, so probably like all of my other hand spun, it's gonna go in my giant bin of pretty yarns. And that's all I have for finished objects. But next I'd like to show you my current work in progress. As I mentioned quite often in my episodes, I'm a fairly monogamous knitter. I don't like to have too many projects going on at the same time. So I've been working on this shawl for the last 2 weeks, pretty much non-stop, and it's the only thing I've been knitting. And this is my scrappy Steggie shawl. The Steggie shawl is a pattern by Noriko, who is Nori-chan Knits on Instagram. And I'm knitting this for her Craftalong 2020, which is a make-along that encourages people to use up their scraps in whatever way they can. So if you're following me on Instagram, you would have seen my giant Franken-skein, which was basically all of my fingering weight and lace weight yarn scraps from knitting various projects or working on my Granny Stripes blanket. And what I did was I just used a Russian join to tie them all together end to end without really focusing on how the colors would look next to one another. And I ended up with this giant yarn ball that was about 350 grams. It's a little difficult to, assess the total yardage because there's variation in different fingering weight yarns, but that still puts me at around, doing off the top of my head math here, maybe like 1,400-1,500 yards. Yeah, and I'm almost done knitting the skein. This is all I have left now. I love this view because you can really see the color sort of like in there. And yeah, let me show you the shawl as best as I can because this thing is massive. So here I'm feeling like one of those magicians when they pull out all those differently colored handkerchiefs tied to one another out of their mouths. But yeah, here's my shawl, and I'll just sort of go like this so you can see the color gradient. There's some more yarn. Ooh. And then like this, it just keeps going and going, and yeah, that's where I am with my blanket now. They're mowing the lawn outside. I hope you can't hear that because it's very loud and annoying, but this is really the best time of day for me to record. Anyway, so yeah, this shawl is absolutely massive. Someone on Instagram commented and told me that this isn't a shawl, it's a shlanket, like a shawl blanket, and I'm really digging that name. But yeah, I really love that all the colors just sort of do what they want. I didn't really think about how these colors would look next to each other, and I love little stretches where it's clear, like here. This was from a mini skein set from Marianated Yarns, leftover from a collaboration we did for my accidental adventure cowl. I'll include a picture of the cowl somewhere on screen. Yeah, and it just keeps going. And this is probably going to be the thumbnail. And that's it for sort of all the finished objects and works in progresses. The sort of crafting side was a little light for this episode, just because I've had a lot of things going on in my personal life. And really that shawl, all those endless rows of garter stitches, bringing me a lot of comfort and joy, and I'm really enjoying it. So thank you, Noriko, for the really awesome pattern. Next, I think I'd like to talk about the Quiet Queers Craftalong. The mowing is getting louder. It's very annoying. Sorry about that. But yeah, the Quiet Queers Craftalong. I've mentioned this in previous episodes. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already know what it is. But basically, for all of you who don't know what it is, the Quiet Queers Craftalong is a 2-month-long craftalong that is being run by me and some other mods, and it's a craftalong designed to celebrate all the queer makers and designers in our community. This is our 2nd year running it. I started this last year because I had, just recently come out as queer, and I started getting invitations from all of my very well-meaning friends about, we should go to Pride together. It'll be your first Pride. The thing is, I really, really don't like being outside during the summer in a large crowd with loud music. I get overstimulated very easily, and basically I knew that if I went to a more conventional Pride parade, I would end up getting very overstimulated and overwhelmed and not have a good time. So I offered up an alternative on Instagram where I was like, hey, people who are queer or want to support queer makers and designers without going to events that might stress you out or, buying into the whole sort of corporate rainbow washing of queer pride, what if we were to do a solidarity craft along through Instagram? And you can sort of participate in whatever way you want. There's no stress. It's 2 months long. You don't even have to finish an object to be entered for prizes, and it'll be super chill. So I made that post, not really expecting much to come out of it, but the response was just so explosive and really great, which meant that there were a lot of people out there who felt the same way as I did. So running that first Quiet Queers Craft Along was a little bit hectic because I had never run any sort of event before, and I was sort of learning on the fly, but a whole lot of people were super supportive and generous with prize donations, with their time. People were super excited about it, and it was just a really, really amazing experience that I knew that I really want to do this every year going forward. So this is our 2nd year doing QQC. I'm a little bit more organized this time, and you can kind of follow along in the designated Instagram account, which is Quiet Queers Craft Along. I'll include text somewhere on the screen right now. And I am basically running it as kind of the follows. So there are 2 different ways to participate in the event. The first is by crafting a finished project made with a design by a queer designer or materials from a queer maker. So for instance, if you were to knit one of my patterns, since I identify as a queer designer, you will be able to knit any of my patterns using any yarn that you have. Doesn't matter if the maker is queer or straight or anything else, and be entered for the finished object prizes. The finished object prizes are going to be drawn from the hashtag, which is QQC2020FO, which is a bit of a mouthful, but I promise it's way better than Quiet Queers Craftalong 2020FO. So finished objects will be drawn from that, and these things over here are just some of the prize packages that were donated to me. They're not quite prize packages yet because I haven't gotten to the point where I am able to compile these packages, but rest assured all of these will be going into the final packages, and I'm hoping to do 10 different ones this year. Another way you can participate is by you know, participating in our bi-weekly giveaways. We have two giveaways a week on Monday and Thursday, Eastern time. And basically all you need to do to participate is, you know, follow the Choir Crew's Craftalong account, like the picture, and just fulfill whatever giveaway prompt corresponds to that post. So I'm trying to organize it so there's one physical giveaway and one digital giveaway every week. So, you know, one day it might be yarn, another day it might be pattern codes, and so on and so forth. So those happen twice a week, and you can just participate whenever you feel like it. So yeah, if you aren't confident that you're a fast maker, and we're defining maker as broadly as possible, so this isn't just like knitting or crocheting. It could be embroidery, sewing, even woodworking like graphic design, like polymer clay. I'm not really familiar with that avenue, but yeah, whatever you feel like making. Even if you're not a fast maker, you can participate in our bi-weekly giveaways and stand chances to win some really great prizes. But with all that said, I'd like to share some of the prizes that were donated to us for the QQC. So I guess I'll just sort of start from the left and move on to the right. The first things that we have are some skeins of yarn from an indie dyer called Tina's Toasty Toes. I'm actually friends with Tina in a Facebook yarn group, so it was really sweet when she reached out to us and asked if she could donate some prizes. And we have two skeins of yarn. One is called Ben Day Dots, and the other is called Melted Crayons. And I'll do a little zoomy zoom so you can see. And here are the skeins of yarn. I got to pick them from her in-stock colorways, and I chose ones that were, you know, rainbow and semi-pride themed. Christina also included for us some swag. So we have some stickers. No, this is a magnet. I'm wrong. This is a magnet. And she also included some enamel pins for us. So there we go. It's like a little rainbow sheepy sheep, and it's very cute. We have a donation from Lofty Loops Yarns. So there is this skein of fingering weight yarn in the colorway Signature Succulents, which I just love the name of it. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that my succulents are my pride and joy, second to, I guess, my cats. And a corresponding skein, a mini skein in, I don't see a colorway name, but it's very cute. It's very pink. She also included this really cute notions pouch, which matches, you know, with, yarn is flopping all over the place, which matches with the yarns. So that'll be a nice little set. Gauge Dye Works sent us also a couple of skeins of yarn, and this is the Color Study Purple colorway, which I just love because these are sort of like muted colors of the Bi Pride flag, and I'm all about that. They also sent these, which is this beautifully bright and vibrant rainbow colorway with a mini that's different gradients, shades of black, gray, and white. Here are the yarns sort of close up. Sorry, my arm is very wobbly. Fishbelly Fiberworks sent a skein of this luscious red yarn. This is in the colorway Cosmopolitan, and it's a 400-yard skein of fingering weight yarn. Serendipitous Wool Company sent 3 skeins of their fingering weight yarns, which I will show. The purple is the colorway Xanadu. The pinkish red is Vermilion, and this yellow, orange, green speckled yarn skein is called Ancient Rhythms. We have a whole bunch of yarns from Rebel Purl, who is a dyer friend who is local to me. I'm actually collaborating with her on my Malice shawl, so if you've been, seeing my Instagram feed for the Malice shawl, the black and orange and sort of like dramatic fall colored version is knit out of her colorways. But she sent 6 skeins of yarn for us, and I'll probably divvy these up with the green sort of going together, the purples going together, and the black and the rainbow, the fluorescent rainbow going together. I think those would make really nice 2 skein sets. I'm going to try to like hold it up so you can see. Is this doing it? I don't know. We shall see. Knitcraft and Knittery sent 2 skeins of these yarns. And these are, let's see, 100% sustainable Australian merino wool, fingering weight, in the colorways Never Trust an Elf. And I just love sort of the blush pink, but also it's like deeply saturated. I'm not sure how to describe it. Fully Spun yarn sent 2 skeins of the postscript fingering base in the colorway POC Inclusive Pride, which I love. Here's the skein close up. And we also have a skein of Estelle Double Knit in this sort of eggplant color. And I believe this was a donation from, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like Baaadaananas, which is a yarn store. I'll include text and a description. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce yarn name. Is it like Baaad Annanas? Like bananas, but who knows? But yeah. They also donated a shawl kit, which was 3 skeins of yarn and a shawl pattern, which I'll include a picture somewhere. But that was one of our bi-weekly giveaways, so that's going to be on its way to the prize winner shortly. And that's just some of the QQC prizes that were donated to us. So to everyone who donated, thank you so much. Your contributions are really what makes the event possible. And yeah, it just warms my heart to know that so many people out there believe in this event and what the event stands for. Yeah. And I think that's everything I had to talk about for this week's podcast episode. It's a little bit of a short one just because I haven't really had time to craft. But yeah, thank you for tuning in and checking out the podcast. I guess let me know if you're participating in the Quiet Queers Craftalong this year. And if you've started a project already, maybe if you haven't even heard about this Craftalong before, will you be joining us? Yeah, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in another 2 weeks, I guess. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting, y'all.